Today is a special show. I don't do Ask Me Anything shows very often at all. I think I've done a total of one in almost 6 years of having the show. I don't know. I never think to do them. But here's the thing. They're valuable because, for one thing, it helps a YouTube influencer, a podcaster, to demonstrate his chops, so to speak. And it's not a pride thing, but just, it's nice to know that someone you're watching has the info, or at least the beginnings to a strong answer, in the back pocket. I think that's important, rather than just this person is researching 10 hours a week for each show and then doing 3 shows a week, which represents hard work. I think it's important to demonstrating expertise. Secondly, it is the soul of more interactivity with the audience. Thirdly, it shows that, we narrowly tailor to your guys' needs. And fourthly, it's just kind of fun. And other shows do it more often. I don't know. Usually this channel has not gone by the watchword. If other channels are doing it, I guess that would be a 5th reason. Then let's do it. We kind of blaze our own trail. But I think it would be really fun. I've gotten a bunch of submitted questions on Twitter, on Locals, and on email, the timothyjgordon@timothyjgordon.com email. And so we're going to tend to those first. You guys can tender questions here after we get rolling. Karen said, I get your issue with he needs to be worthy to submit to, meaning I reject contingent wifely submission. But how does that look when dating? This is an important question. Mostly, how does a woman determine that he will take on the role of a leader and she end the relationship if he is lacking? Well, so in dating, there's a kind of virtual potency to the prospective male leader when you're dating. So you're kind of trying out, how will it be if you become my boss? I mean, I know people lie about me and Steph on the internet all the time, the Catholic feminists more than anyone. So it's a woman getting to pick her boss. If she wants things really lenient, that doesn't mean he'll be the best guy, but pick a lenient boss. There are really good Catholic guys out there that tend toward leniency. Actually, I'm sort of one of them. If she knows she needs to have, she wants to be held to a tight routine, and then pick a strict boss. But so that's basically what it is for women. You're picking your boss. Not only are you picking someone that's really loving, because the main command of husbands to wife is to love, but your main practical logistical concern is pick someone that is the kind of boss you want to have. Once you've picked, now we have this ex post, ex ante, before, after juxtaposition of outcomes. Once you've picked, there's absolutely crystal clarity that post marriage, you must submit to everything he says. So it's too late then. But absolutely be really vigilant, ladies, when you're dating men. If he's too strict and you think that's weird, because I kind of think strictness, now I'm going to be honest, people think I'm strict. They've taken and run with a falsehood they heard, like, joked about by Trent Horn and his wife. Like, I'm not by my nature a strict guy. I'm by my nature a lenient, kind of laid back guy. Yep. So they'll say this one thing they heard, like, Steph's not allowed to go out. Steph doesn't like to drive and asks me to chauffeur out of safety everywhere. And that happens to coincide with, like, the Roman Catechism, but I'm not a strict guy by nature. I try to follow the teachings closely, but if you think strictos are kind of weirdos, which I kind of do, if I'm dealing with like a trad couple and the guy's really strict, it's even though I'm known as like the patriarchy man, it feels kind of weird. If you agree with that, ladies, then don't continue to date a strict guy. Unless he's strict and he's like the best guy in the world, okay? But once you pick, there's no saying he's not being worthy today of submitting to. That's just rebutted everywhere in the Bible. Karen also asked, what's your perspective on arguments in marriage given that the wife should submit? How should apologizing work? What should wife do if husband says or does something that hurts her feelings? We actually do this marriage coaching. Go to timothyjgordon.com. We do 2-on-2 marriage coaching. We just dealt with this with one of our really lovely couples. So we have something called the one bite of the apple rule, because a wife, Pius XII says, well, she has to submit to her husband in all things. She's not like one of the kids. She has the dignity of a full adult ego and intellect. So she's just not the boss. So she is his first and should be closest advisor, really only advisor. So if she says, hey, I think you should, you're leaning into going right, I think you should lean into going left, he should hear her out fully and enthusiastically and be like, huh. Now, if he chooses, okay, I heard you out, thanks for that, and like, I'm still going to go right on this turn here, then she's got to just, okay, that's it. That's the one bite of the apple rule. But let's say he is being grouchy or short as he goes through all this, short-tempered. That's a feelings matter. And what she should do is, hey, kind of use a marker, hold a marker and be like, that was really grouchy. That hurt my feelings. And just bring it up as soon as he seems ungrouchy again, whether that's 5 minutes or a half hour. Because feelings do matter. See, that's the thing. This is not like the Jocko Willink. That's not what we've ever said. We get characterized that way. You know, if something horrible happens, good. You know, just take it. Feelings do matter, particularly because husband and wife are best friends. They're just, it's a friendship between unequals. So absolutely raise that. Give him the opportunity, and without being a nag, just say, when you did this, it did hurt my feelings. I just want to let you know. It felt like less than you are. And I just want to leave you with that. You don't have to say anything right now. Just would you please consider that? You know, 45 minutes ago when you said this, you're normally so sweet and that hurt my feelings. That always does it with a good guy. Just leave it at his doorstep and be like, I'm going to go, you know, bake these brownies, but I just wanted to let you know. Because apologies are so important to life. Reconciliation can't happen without apologies. And the leader needs to be leading people in apologies. So see, none of this is that Catholic feminism that you're used to us dispelling. Very, very important.
A monthly supporter wrote that a parish priest won't sacramentally marry his wife and him because they challenged the marriage process. Specifically, they scored low on the focus test. And I guess the priest is a Christian feminist. He's anti-feminist in his point of view, and he feels like he's discriminating against him. So I'm just reading through.
The tough thing with positions of authority, of subjective positions of authority, like a parish priest who can deny you getting married, or like a college professor who's probably a liberal most of the time, who can deny you a good grade on a paper in like a humanities class. I know you guys know I've been fired from jobs. I've been kicked off of this and that platform. So I'm always like an open and honest, notorious truth teller guy. But even that, even only being kicked off of 3 or 4 jobs or platforms, even to keep my number low, that does mean I am using, where possible, where I'm not having to negotiate on principles, just sort of saying things truly, but maybe saying them down a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. When your parish priest can deny you sacramental union with the woman that you're calling wife, then be prudent, is what I say. Now, you never compromise on principle. Anything besides principle, fully compromisable. It's a big, important distinction. And not everything is a principle. So I'm one of these guys, I will not budge an inch if something's a principle. When I got kicked off of locals, when I got kicked off of Patreon, they're like, all you have to do is take down this, this, and this, and you can have your money. And I was like, no. Next. And yeah, and like I said today, by the way, we are still suffering from that. We didn't recoup nearly all of those Patreon supporters. So please, we're trying to get to 25 new, between now and the end of the year, new local supporters of 100 a month or more. So it's definitely worth going soft where you can without compromising a principle. That's what I would say. In regard to getting sacramentally married, if he denies it to you, then you have to live Josephite until then. So do remember that. That's a principle.
Go somewhere else too.
Also, just go somewhere else. You don't need, just go to another priest. You can pretty much, what we call in the law, forum shop. So do that, and maybe this time, of course, most priests are feminists. Most priests are sometimes even worse than that. I won't even say. You don't borrow trouble. Just go there, go through the focus. We have dear friends who just did this.
It's stupid. It's
stupid.
Horrible. Focus is an awful, awful train wreck garbage pail of a marriage program.
Right. It's a garbage pail of a marriage program, but go along to get along, because the problem is they might, if you're telling people that, well, their viewpoint discriminating against us. Yeah, I mean, they probably are. I'd bet 90% they are. But what if, and I don't know you, I'm saying 90% I believe you, 95. But same thing with, what if it's a conservative student in the philosophy 101 class that literally just wrote a crappy paper, and his professor's a liberal but fair-minded and just gave him a bad grade because he wrote a crappy paper. Therefore, kind of just try to keep politics out of it so that you'll know whether or not your grade is fair. See what I'm saying?
I'm Orthodox. What's your view on Orthodox Catholic marriage if we are both traditional in our respective churches? How do you reconcile differences?
I don't think Orthodox and Catholics should marry each other. I do like, generally speaking, Orthodox people. I do view you guys as much closer, like kissing cousins, than Protestants. I do think your liturgies are cool. I think your beards are cool. I'm not being sarcastic. And I do get the temptation. I do, and I've said this countless times, and I also like the masculinism involved by American Orthodoxy. I do get the temptation for short-sighted Catholics to be like, oh man, Orthodoxy is just Catholicism without the Pope. And I mean, that's basically what you guys are. Lots of Orthodox try to inflate the theological differences between you and us, and they're really, really minor. So I don't buy that there are major theological differences. The main theological difference is an ecclesiological difference on the Pope, and that does matter. So as much as I like Ortho Bros, sincerely, I would say probably most of the Ortho Bros would agree with me, don't do interreligious marriage. I mean, it would be cool if in a meaningful way we could just bridge the gap. But Francis plans to in 2025 is the rumor, but that will not be in a meaningful way. That'll be in a heretical way. Marry people. Catholics should only marry Catholics. Orthodox should only marry, scratch that. Orthodox should become Catholic.
Another marriage
I like you guys, though.
What should older single men 40 plus do? Too old for return, dating pool getting smaller, and not getting any older.
Not getting any younger, probably.
I guess that's what they were older, but
you are getting older, and so am I.
Getting older. Tell me what you've done.
Yeah.
I need to know.
You're Benjamin Button, or wait, there's Benjamin Button gets younger. How does it work?
Tell me. Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Like aging in reverse or something. I don't remember. He was like born a man.
I don't know. Look, adjust your expectations. First off, a lot of the guys that we dealt with that were 40 or even 35 plus who are not married just were like threes who were like, I'll settle for a 9, but if not a 10, only a 9. And that's just debilitated them through their whole life. And also settle now for, a kind of Abram and Sarai marriage where, you don't insist on getting a younger chick just so that you can be fertile. If you dream of children, I would say look to the pool of similar aged women. I mean, particularly if you're 40 and she's 40, you could get it wouldn't be a miracle child.
And let me tell you something, too.
There are lots of 40-year-old women that are looking. 30-year-olds don't want 40-year-olds. It's not like that anymore. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that you'll find that a lot of these single late 30s, early 40s Catholic women are if you're in that age group and you're a man, those women are motivated to be good housekeepers, good wives.
Submissive.
Because, they're ready. I mean, that age group, if they've waited that long to get married, the ones that we're meeting in our matchmaking program, if they're 35, 40, whatever,
yes,
not married, they are motivated. They want to be good wives.
They do. So my main thing would be, do not make the fallacy of being like, well, look, I'm 42. I kind of missed my window. Now I'm willing to not date a Helen of Troy. I'll dip down to an 8. I mean, be willing to date a good woman. But I do still need a young woman. Don't think that way. Think, hey, meet someone that you're a good match for, and usually peers mate better and pair bond better. People will ask, Tim, you're a trad. Isn't it really trad to date a much younger woman? No, the stats and just common experience both show that people pair bond better with someone of their sub-generation. You know, do you like Smashing Pumpkins? Yeah, I love to do that, from the Steve Martin movie. You have to have the same cultural references, particularly in the social media age. It's really, really important. And so it's hard to pull off. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's hard to pull off a much older with much younger relationship. If you meet when you're 32 and she's 22, that's easier to pull off. 32 is more attractive to a 22-year-old than 42 is to a 30-year-old woman. So I would say be willing to date someone closer to your age.